Scott Hudspeth with Agent Mastermind. So awesome to be here. First, this is our second class for 2016, and I am so excited about this class. We have Dwight Anderson on from Gowdy Brothers, Aerospace, and I'm not gonna spoil this for Dwight. I'm gonna let him introduce himself, but he specializes in not only getting people approved, but doing it faster than what's happening out there. And he's going to talk about how to use drones in your real estate business, and he's also going to talk about how to get approved to use drones. So Dwight, thank you so much for being here, my brother. I appreciate you. And so what do you got for us today?
Hey, thank you, Scott, and thank you everybody for joining in on the call. This is such an awesome opportunity, and I am so excited about 2016 and the opportunities we have. And so I'd like to share with you a little bit. First, a little bit who I am. I love helping people. I've been involved with sales and leadership and business, working with nonprofits both in Australia. I lived in Australia for 20 years. My wife is from Australia. I'm speaking all over the country. I love helping people. And I'm actually a director of a nonprofit called prisonmission.org. And then my brother-in-law started Gowdy Brothers, Aerospace, and so I'm helping him reach out to people and help them use their drones commercially, legally. And I love real estate. So when Scott asked me to talk to you guys, my parents are realtors. My dad he just got an award for 40 years of service, became the first realtor to be appointed emeritus status in the Green Valley Sayurita Association of Realtors in Arizona. And so I love you guys. I love to help each and every one of you be really successful in real estate. And a friend of mine told me this story about a small real estate agent, actually a broker. And he was kind of upset when a brand new corporate chain, much like his own, opened next door and erected a huge sign which said the best agents. And then he was horrified when another competitor opened up on the other side of him on the right-hand side and announced its arrival with an even larger sign that said lowest commissions. And this small real estate broker started to panic, but then he got an idea. He put the biggest sign of all over his agency, and it read main entrance. So I love that story. Maybe you've heard of it before, but
I have not. That's great.
He made the most of like a bad situation there. And so what I like to do for you guys is really help you guys make the most of the situation and opportunity here using drones in selling your houses. And I'd like to share 3 reasons why you should use a drone to help you in your business. The first one is drone footage of a property is part of an effective marketing plan. You can produce some really stunning captures of hotels, resorts, golf courses, and really you're looking at $500,000 homes and up is really the key market for using the drones. Pictures and videos from a bird's eye view makes it stand out in your ads and promotions, and it looks really professional in your advertising. And an aerial photograph will help the buyer know its proximity to highways, supermarkets, schools, and other facilities. So it's a great opportunity to make the most of that. Now, they say that 85% of buyers and sellers want an agent who has video marketing. But you know that only about 15% of agents have a video presence. So there's a great opportunity to set yourself apart from the other realtors out there. Now, number 2 reason you need to use drones is it will help you to market the property by showing specific footage. And you can take some amazing still photography and video photography that's going to help. And the 3rd reason is you're going to have to use drones or you're going to start falling behind because your competitors are all going to start using it. And they're going to have really impressive pictures and videos. And if you don't, you're going to fall behind your competition. Now here's how some realtors are using drones in their business. They're using it for listing presentations, website landing pages, aerial pictures and videos, relocation and recreation videos, social media. They're using it to post announcements, pre-listing pictures. I've got an example here of someone on Facebook. This is a realtor in Washington. They put a really cool video on there with the listing and all the information. And you know, people love videos on Facebook. They're going to click that, especially if it's a cool video shot from the air. Here's an example of one that I'd like to show you. I only picked it because it was short. There's some better ones out there that they were longer, but there is some music with this, but we don't have any audio. But it's sort of what you want to do with a drone is sort of set the stage. Oh, where'd the picture go? Okay, there it is. And get your perspective of the home that you're showing. And the problem some people do with the drone videos is they just fly around the house and that's it. Well, that's like flying around the wrapper of a candy bar, but not showing what's inside the candy bar and how that candy bar tastes, how it smells. So you want to give the perspective with the drone on the outside, but you do want to show the inside of the home, show all of the features inside as well. But the drone does give you some really good perspectives from the outside. Now I think he's going to start flying through the front door here. Here we go. And then he's going to try going in and show you some of the perspective from the inside of the home. So this is like a minute and a half or something like that. And so I just picked this one because it was one of the shorter ones out there, because you really don't want to have too long of a video for this presentation that I was showing you. But I kind of wanted to show you what kind of things you can do with the drone. So that's, I think, the video. There we go.
So just a real quick,
Yes.
so people are using it to fly through the front door. I was wondering about that. I haven't actually, because you don't know if it's a drone flying through the front door or if it's somebody walking through the front door, so I was curious about that.
They've done both. They've done both. Some people, yeah, especially with bigger homes, they'll fly through the, through the home. And with the better video, the more expensive drones you got, the steadier, more stable, and easier they are to fly, actually, than the small ones.
Right.
But once you do become a FAA approved, you can tweet. This is an example of a realtor that put their exemption number on there and tweeted they were excited because they were doing it legally and using their drones. So if you're thinking of using a drone, today I want to help, because isn't it frustrating when you don't know what it takes to legally use a drone for your business? And you may be reading the news, the FAA is taking on realtors and people that are using them without being legal, and they're starting to dish out fines and things like that. So what are the possible penalties? If you hire someone to take photos and videos of your real estate, they need to have what's called a 333 exemption, or you and they may get a $10,000 fine from the FAA. So you need to be sure that you either hire someone with a 333 exemption, or you get your own 333 exemption to avoid having your pictures and your videos removed from your websites and getting those fines. And Gowdy Brothers Aerospace was founded to help people like yourselves, companies and government agencies, to fly drones legally. So we're business consultants. My brother-in-law, Steve Gowdy, is the chief pilot, and he's the one that did 350 hours of research, reading over 800 different submissions, and really pioneered this for the company. And he's partnered with a good friend of mine, Jason Christensen, and they do a tremendous job in putting together what we believe is the best exemption on the market. Now, just to explain to you, you need to understand commercial versus hobby use, because if you're doing it as a hobby, that means your information is not going to be shared. It's just for your own private family or your friends. You're not posting it publicly. It's just for your own personal enjoyment. Commercial use doesn't necessarily mean that you're charging any money for it, because a lot of people think they can get around it by just not charging for it, but that's not necessarily the case. You can still get, and even if you didn't charge for it, it has to do with the intent and the purpose that you're flying the drone for, and if there's any economic benefit. So if you personally, selling your own home, use the drone and use the pictures for your drone, you don't pay yourself, but you can get a fine for using your own drone pictures for selling your own home, because you did benefit by that. Now,
so any way, shape, or form that you're using this as a benefit for you really is what the FAA is looking at today.
Right, an economic benefit. If you're making money at any point, like if you're holding a class and you're teaching people how to fly a drone, and that's one of the exemptions, one of the purposes that we include in our exemption is that you can hold a class, you can teach people to fly drones. Now you can do it inside, which I'll get to in a minute. Yeah, they're indoor
Okay.
use. So they're indoor use.
One other question before you go on there, Dwight. Now, you said 500,000 and above, and Carrie's asking. I appreciate you being here, Carrie. Is there something that you would recommend on a $150,000 to $200,000 home, and are people using it for that?
Well, they are. I'm just saying the majority of the because you're taking extra time and money. Yeah. Investing in that marketing tool, you're going to benefit most from a house that's going to be impressive from the outside. Okay. You know, if it's an old beat up house, you know, there's no
true from the outside. Yeah, we lost him. All right, one sec. Connected to audio. Sorry, guys, a little technical difficulty there. 1 second. There's another question coming in too. I don't know if Dwight, if you can hear me or not. Sorry, guys, we're having a little technical difficulty here. 1 second. He should be right back momentarily. Dwight, are you still there? Dwight, we lost you. Sorry, guys. Can somebody put in the box? Can everybody hear me still? Maybe I lost connection. Can everybody? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Everybody can hear me. All right. Good. Sorry, guys. All right. Yeah, that's cool. All right. So we lost Dwight. 1 second, guys. He should be right back. I apologize for the technical difficulty. It's one thing with doing webinars. Of course, you always test the internet and the technical part of this doing webinar. So that's always the challenge that we have. But we should be back here in just a second. So Dwight, I lost him. Dwight, you there, buddy? Dwight? Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Yeah, no, Leah, I appreciate that. It is worth the wait. He has some great information, and I apologize. I think this is about a 30 to 45-minute presentation, so it'll be well worth the thing. He's going to walk us through how to get approved, what needs to be done, and what different things need to take place to be able to do this for your real estate business. And he's also going to touch on what's going to happen here in 12 to 18 months that I think you should be aware of, and why you should jump in now. So I apologize for the delay here. All right, Dwight, you there, buddy? Hello, hello, hello. Dwight, we lost you. Oops. Dwight, you there? Wonder if sorry, guys. Girls, ladies and gentlemen, 1 second. Oops, he's calling me. 1 second here. Okay, guys, he's gonna call in. He was using a mic, so I showed him how to switch to the phone, which should resolve this problem that we're having here. So I apologize. I appreciate you guys' patience on this, and we should be right back with you here very, very shortly. So I appreciate it. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever flown one of these, or if does anybody on the call have a drone right now that they got for Christmas, or have had for a while and have been playing around with it? Anybody on the call right now? Yes, cool. So I'm going to, while we're waiting for him, let me just see where we're at here. He should be on momentarily. I apologize. He should be on really quick. So is any? Oh, there's a bunch of people with drones. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Yes, have not opened it yet. Lauren, what is wrong with you? Okay, there we go, buddy. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Dwight. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, guys. Dwight's back with us. So, so the question was, we were where we left off was the $150,000 to $200,000 home, and I totally get what you're saying. If the home, if there's nothing impressive about the outside of the home, there's really nothing. Why spend the time and the money? Because it does take time and money, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
okay.
if there's a feature, if you want to set a perspective, like maybe there's a cool golf course nearby, or there's some feature which is going to enhance the value for the buyer, then you could use a drone shot, outside shot. But otherwise, it's not really worth the time and the money.
Got it.
So as we were talking about the hobbyist requirements, if you're indoor or actually commercially indoor, there's no FAA regulations. You can do whatever you want indoors with the drones. If you're a hobbyist on the outdoors, you do need to register your drone. They just started that on December 21st at the FAA website. You can register it. It's like $5. And you need to abide by the FAA airspace regulations. Like there's no fly zones near airports. You're not supposed to fly over stadiums, over interstate highways, certain busy places like that, national parks, things like that. The commercial user, there's 3 or 4 requirements there, 3 main ones. The first one is you need to get the 333 exemption, and that's good for 2 years. It's good in all 50 states and the U.S. territories. And number 2, you need to register your drone. It's different than the hobbyist registration. You actually get an N number. They consider it like an aircraft. So you need a tail number. And I'm going to explain that in a minute. And then the third thing, whoever is operating the drone needs to have the minimum of a sport pilot license. So you don't need a license to get the 323 exemption. And over half of our clients do not have a pilot license. They hire pilots for like $15 an hour or $25 per event. So those are the main 3 things that you need.
I got a question. I got a question for you on that, because I'm actually a certified flight instructor, and I don't practice anymore, and it's not current because you need a medical. But as far as the sports pilot's license, can you talk about that for a second and what it takes to get that? Is it actual flight time, or what's the like if someone, and I guess maybe I'm jumping ahead because I know you're talking about something at the end that talks about what people will be able to do to fly drones commercially in 12 to 18 months that we talked about.
Yep, that's okay. The sport pilot requires 20 hours of flight time with a flight instructor.
Okay.
A recreational pilot is 30 hours. A private pilot is 40 hours.
Okay.
Now with the sport pilot, you're limited. You can't fly at night. You can't fly with passengers. So, there's certain limitations. There's certain advantages with a sport pilot license. You don't need a Class 2 medical certificate. All you need is a current driver's license.
Perfect.
So I've had like some older gentlemen that could no longer pass their medical. I said just downgrade to a sport pilot, and then all you need is your driver's license.
There you go.
So that's what he did. Yeah, that's what he did. So, so those are the main 3 things. The fourth one is only if you're it's called a COA, Certificate of Authorization. That's if you did want to film maybe within 5 miles of an airport or near a national park or somewhere where there's a no-fly zone. A lot of the newer drones, like a DJI Inspire 1 or Phantom 3, they all have software that they won't even let you take off in the no-fly zone.
Okay.
With the GPS.
Hey, question for you, for us pilots on the call, and I'm sure there's more than just one. How much is it to fly, get hourly instruction in a 152 nowadays?
It could be 100, 130, 140, 150. It just depends on, your area. Some are cheaper than others, the location of where you live. At the end, I'm going to talk about a website where you can put your zip code in, and they'll tell you within 50 miles all the flight schools near you.
Beautiful. Okay. I don't want to interrupt you anymore.
I'll talk about that later.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. So the petition for exemption, which is a strange name, I don't know, the FAA has some funny, odd things, but in this Reform Act of 2012, because it's illegal to use a drone, then you're asking for an exemption to use the drone for certain things. And so when you file the 333, Now, you can do this on your own. They don't charge you anything. It's kind of like income taxes. If you feel comfortable doing your own income taxes and are familiar with all the jargon, know all the laws and the rules, so you won't get in trouble, you can file your own. Same with the 333. You can go in there and you can file and submit your own 333 exemption, but you have to explain the public benefit for receiving each of those exemptions that you're going to ask for. Your intended use, the operational equipment. You got to provide an operating manual for all the drones that you're going to be operating, and then operational control will be maintained in how you're going to use the drones and all of that. So you can file it on your own, or just like myself, I don't like income taxes. It's a pain in the neck, so I hire someone to help me with that. So you can hire someone like myself with the Gowdy Brothers to help you file your Section 333. Now, I have some resources here. If you do want to do it on your own, you can go to the FAA.gov, and they have a couple of things in there. There's one called Know Before You Fly. There's other resources on the FAA website that'll help you. It's pretty complicated, but you can do that. There's also a website called droneu.org, and then DJI, who make the Phantom 3 and Inspire 1, which are probably the most popular drones. They have information on their website as well if you wanted to try to have a go. But 40 to 60% of people filing on their own are getting rejected. So you do need to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's two good questions coming in. I have a private pilot's license, but I haven't flown. Alan is asking this question for 15 years. Does the medical need to be current? Does the license need to be current to fly commercially, or can you just have a pilot's license?
Yeah, to fly the drone, my understanding is you need the current medical because they want to know that you're physically able to do this. But you may not need to do the flight check. Otherwise, you do need to. So I've heard two different things. One guy did say because a pilot license never expires. You just need to run another flight check. You need to get in the plane with an instructor and have him run you fly you and do a flight check. But I think if you have if you have been a pilot, because what they want to know that you know the FAA regulations, you know the airspace rules. And so if you've already been a pilot, you are familiar with all of that. They just need the current medical. Unless you're a sport pilot, then you don't need the medical. You just need a current driver's license. So hopefully that answered the question. Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you. Yep, all good.
Okay.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Now, when you file your 333, here's the process. It's going to take about 60 days, sometimes longer. I've had even people wait up to 90 days to get their docket number, which means on the FAA website you'll be listed there, and then they have what they call a comment period, which can be up to 60 days. If they took 90 days to give you a docket number, usually the comment period is only about 30 days because they're trying to keep it within about 120 days for your final approval. So that's kind of what the process looks like. And so you need the 323, and then, like I said, the N number. There's really 4 things required of that, and if you want me to email you, I can email you the 4 things that you need to do to get the N number registration, or you can hire someone like us. We can help you to get your N number registration.
Awesome. Perfect. Maybe what we could do, Dwight, is put that on the web, because we're going to play this recording in PowerPoint. So just contact your loan professional to get this information in the PowerPoint. Maybe we can put that information with the PowerPoint.
Yeah, we can do that.
Awesome.
We can do that.
Okay.
And then if you are near like a national park or near airport, then you need additional permissions to fly in those no-fly zones. Like I have one of our clients. He lives in Washington, D.C. The whole city of Washington, D.C. is a no-fly zone. So for him to do some real estate pictures and stuff like that, we did get him a COA for that, to operate within that. Now, the benefits in using a company like Gowdy Brothers, when we file your exemption, we include 200 drones, the 200 most popular drones that are out there. And we can email you that list, and if there's any drones that are not on there that you want to buy in the next 2 years, we can add a couple more as well and include that as part of your package. We include 23 different purposes, one of which includes all the real estate, residential and commercial real estate, photography, cinematography, videography. We include the motion picture and TV flight operations manual, which a lot of companies charge $1,500 for. It's a 25-page document. We include that at no extra charge in our package. We also use previous approved exemptions used as a precedent. So each of those 23 purposes, each of the 200 drones we're asking for, we give 4 or 5 exemption numbers of previous people who have already been granted these from the FAA. So we have a 100% success rate because my brother-in-law did all that homework.
Wow.
Also, with ours, we get ours done probably 20 days faster than the competition because we have more submissions than anybody had into 475 and more have gone into the FAA. And so they've one dedicated employee that handles all of the Gowdy Brothers Aerospace applications. So my brother-in-law talks to him every day how we can help her make her job easier and streamlining these things. Now, as opposed to hiring like a law firm, my brother-in-law is a pilot, so this one's all more focused or practical from a pilot's perspective. Also, you don't have to wait 120 days if you choose to use the Gowdy Brothers, because we have an option now where we can give you a letter of authorization to fly with the Gowdy Brothers Aerospace 333 in the next couple of days if you needed to do some work.
Wow, awesome. Okay.
Legally. Also, the benefit of using a company like the Gowdy Brothers, it'll save you probably about 2 weeks of work doing it. You know, you could do it yourself, but it's going to take you a couple of weeks to try to figure it all out and to fill out all that stuff.
And
the
they got and you might not get it because you didn't do it right. That's that's an additional thing. Yeah, that's correct. Because if you've never done it before, just like if you've never done taxes before, more than likely you're going to have done something wrong, and it'll come back, and you'll have to wait 4 months to find out that you've done it wrong. The other advantage of going with the Gotti Brothers is we have a network now of over 500 clients, and what we're trying to do is pass referrals from one to another. Like I signed up a guy up in Canada who needed to shoot a video for a commercial for some boat in Florida. So he said, do you know anybody with a 333? And I looked on our database, and here we had a guy who just got a 333 with us in Fort Myers, Florida. So I connected in with that guy. And so we passed the business around. Whatever you kind of are specializing in, then we can pass business back and forth to all the Gowdy Brothers clients. I like that. That's funny. I'm in Fort Myers right now. It's kind of funny.
Oh, you are in Fort Myers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It was December 7th when they shot the commercial. But anyway, this finally was we offer 6 months interest-free, 6 months no payments through PayPal. It's an option when we invoice you to make it a little bit more affordable if you need that.
I got a question. I got a question for you, Dwight.
Go ahead.
On the 200 drones. So when you submit it and you get approved, are you automatically approved for the 200 drones if you have one of them?
That's
or if
correct.
you decide, okay, cool. So you're not just approved for one drone. You're approved for all 200 that you have approval for.
Correct. And that's a mistake. Most people doing it themselves, they put down just the drone that they own. Or if you hire like a law firm to do it, they'll just say, what do you own? Oh, I own a Phantom 3. They'll put down Phantom 3. Well, that's the only drone you're going to be able to fly. So that's the beauty of ours, is you can subcontract it out to people in all 50 states. You can subcontract out as many pilots as you want. They can fly any of those 200 drones that are listed on ours.
Beautiful.
So there's only 2 things you need to do to get moving ahead if this is something that you want to do with the Gowdy Brothers, is we will email you a link to a Google Doc form where you just fill out your name, your company name, a paragraph about yourself, and a paragraph about what you want to do with the drone, and then request a PayPal invoice and make the payment. So within 1 week of us getting your background information and get your payment, we'll have all of that paperwork ready to submit to the FAA. So it's pretty quick turnaround with us. And like I said, we do have that option where you don't have to wait 120 days. We can give you that letter of authorization so that you can fly using the Gowdy Brothers 333 exemption. And for that extra service, we charge a fee of $300 for a 30-day time period. And we do highly recommend drone insurance of a $1 million liability. In fact, if you do fly with the Gowdy Brothers 333, we do require that, and then we'll be a co-insurer with you on that. Now, we have one of our clients, Pat Costello, who can give you a free quote, and that's his website there. And I can, if people want to email me more information, I've got a couple other insurance people if they want to get a couple different quotes.
And what are the quotes running like for a liability on something like
this? $1 million liability usually runs. It could be between $600 to $1,000 a year.
Okay.
For your company, it's just specific drone insurance. Other services that we can provide you is the N number registration. If you don't want the hassle of doing that yourself, we charge $300 for that. Later, after you have your 333, if you want to add more drones or more purposes, you file what's called an addendum, or maybe you took put it in your personal name and you want to change it to your company name. You can file an addendum. We do that for $300. And like I said, if you're near an airport or a national park, or you need to do something where it's in a kind of a restricted area, you need an additional COA, certificate of authorization, we charge $300 for that. And then I love referrals. So if you give any referrals to me that buy a 333, I can give you $50 credit towards additional Gowdy Brothers services. So like if you decide to use our 333 instead of the $300, it would only be $250 for a 30-day period.
James has a great question. He says tech is always evolving. New drones are coming out and stuff like that. So how long does it take if this brand new drone just comes out? It's not on the list of the 200. How long does it take to get that drone approved?
It's usually about 30 days for an addendum to file an addendum. About 30 days. So I have some people already telling me, like DJI has some drone out now. It's in Korea and China, and they already want to get it before it's even in America. So we're putting it in 333. So now I do have a special pricing for you guys who've hung in there, and I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. I don't really know what happened there, but for a small business and individually, normally charge $1,500 for that 333 exemption with the 200 drones, the 23 purposes. For a large business, that's over $8 million a year revenue. It's $3,500. But if you contact me and you mention the Agent Mastermind webinar, we'll discount $100 off it if you pay before the end of this month, January 31st, which actually is my birthday, for small businesses, and $300 off for a large business pricing. So you'd be looking at $1,400 for a small business or $3,200 for a large business.
So let me ask you on this. So if someone, when you say a large business, so if a broker owner comes to you and says, hey, I want to get approved, does that mean every agent under him is approved or just the broker owner?
Well, if he puts it in his company name, he can have as many people flying under his 333 as he wants.
Very interesting. Okay, that's great. Okay. All right, so they would just have to, of course, probably have you could guide them in that $1 million policy, or maybe the company has it and they just use that, or, because if you got 100 agents, so say I have 100 agents under my roof, and I, as the broker owner, under my company name, get a 333, and it's approved and all that stuff, every agent under me could use my 333 as part of my company.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
There's no limit to that. Now, just remember, they do need to have whoever's operating needs to have a sport pilot license, and they need to have the N number registration. But yeah, they can do that. Absolutely. You can have 100 people doing it. And maybe you want to up it to 3 million, or you could up your liability if you have that many people using it, or whatever you want to do is fine,
Okay, and talk to me about this. So you, if you're cool with sharing this information, what you said, and this is the conversation we had a couple weeks ago, you said right now is when the time's getting good, because in 12 to 18 months some stuff is going to happen. You want to talk about that? Is that okay?
Oh, yeah. Let me go here. Okay. When will the pilot license change requirements? Yeah, later on, in about 12 months to 18 months, it's no longer going to be required to have a sport pilot license, but it's just going to be a knowledge test, so it'll be like a drone pilot certificate. So that is going to be changing in about a year or 18 months. So there is a little bit of a barrier to entry right now. Okay. So this is a good time to get in before there's going to be a flood of people coming in once it's a lot
So
easier.
the time to get it's going to go through the roof. Like it's going to take forever to get it because it'll be instead of 500 trying to get it, it's going to be 5,000, 50,000, whoever, because it's going to be so easy to get.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. FAA app for restricted areas. It includes private strips. Let's see. What is the insurance contact? They want to see. You want to talk about this slide really quick, and then I'll ask the next question.
Okay.
Yes.
Talk about the liability.
You know talk about the slide here, the one that's best to buy that you would recommend.
Oh, well, this is just a frequently asked question that I have. A lot of people have never flown a drone before. Whoop. And they ask me what's a good thing to start out with. Rather than spending a couple $1,000 or $1,000 and then crashing it or losing it,
Right.
I suggest that you start with a little one that's like around $80. It's called the Blade Nano. It doesn't have the GPS. But once you've mastered that little one, you crashed it a few hundred times, you'll be ready for the big one because it's very light, it's easy to fly, but mastering the controls on that little one is exactly the same as what you're going to fly on a big one, but it's a lot cheaper if you do smash it or lose it than a $1,000 machine. If you want to know the best deal on the drones or the right drone and equipment for your business, one of our clients is Stan Markowitz, and there's his phone number, and just mention Gowdy Brothers. His company is called 312uav.com.
Okay. Awesome.
Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So let me just break these costs down. So to get my 333, it's and I appreciate the $100 off. I had no idea you were gonna do that, and I appreciate that. So it's $1,400. You do everything. They got to write a paragraph of what they want to use it for. But after that, they gather your information. You apply for it. You have a 100% success rate. You submit the paperwork. You do anything that needs to be done for the person that signs up with you.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct.
And then if they want is the tail numbers additional? So you got to have the N numbers on the end of the
The N number, Yep.
Okay.
And there's like 4 things you need to do for that. A lot of people could do that themselves, or we charge $300 because it's a bit of a pain in the neck. It's a lot of red tape. You got to fill out affidavits. You got to have proof of purchase of your receipt and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Great question by Shad. He says, if I'm flying for hobby, what is required? I think you only have to go to the FAA website and then register your drone, and I believe it's still free for the first 30 days. They just started January 1, I believe. Or was it in December? I don't remember.
That's correct. It was December. It's December 21, and it is free. It's usually $5 there the first 30 days. So like the December 20th or December 21, it will be free.
Okay.
Yeah. If they're just doing it for fun, all they got to do is register the drone. That's all.
Yeah. So they actually charge you the $5, and then they credit you back. So.
Okay.
Let's see. So somebody asked a great question. So should I do this? Or should I find somebody that is like legal to do this for me commercially and then just hire them? And then my second question to that would be, what's an average price that people are charging to do drone virtual tours or whatever you want to call it for a nice listing?
Okay. First of all, I guess you'd have to determine like if it's going to be cost effective, like the $1,500, say the $300 for the N number. You might spend a couple $1,000 on a drone. There's batteries, and there's insurance. So you have to total up what's going to cost you, and then how much business you're going to be doing in real estate, and how much you're going to be selling. And if you're going to sell a lot of high-end real estate properties to make it worth your time, and if you have a lot of agents under you, then it would definitely be worth it.
Huge.
Otherwise, if you're not going to use it a whole lot, it'd be cheaper to find someone who has a 333. Problem is, there aren't very many people with 333 exemptions out there.
Right.
If you can find one in your town, then just hire them. A lot of times they might charge $300, $400, $500, depending on. Like they're only usually shooting for like $500,000 and up because they know with the high-end thing, then they can charge, $300, $400, $500 for the video footage and photography for that. But it all depends on the market, what the market will bear. On the areas where you're living, you may not be able to charge that high of a price. But like if you're in Southern California or somewhere where there are $2, $3, $4 million homes,
all right.
$200, $300 is nothing for those kind of people.
All right, so going back to the broker owner, I have 100 agents underneath me, and it's just a hypothetical question. I don't, but so I got a broker owner. I got 100 agents underneath me. I have my pilot's license. I get the 333 exemption. Does the agent underneath me have to be a pilot also, or can they just use my 333 because they're part of my company?
They can use the 333, but whoever operates the drone, it's kind of like you can buy a car. You don't need to have a driver's license to buy the car, but you need to have someone that's operating it is going to need a license. So,
okay.
Like I said, over half our clients are not pilots. So what you can do is you can hire a pilot for like $15 an hour. Now you might wonder, why would a pilot work for $15 an hour or $25 for an event? If they're flying and they're a private pilot, they need to maybe 250 hours. They need to log that flight time to become a commercial pilot. Right now, they can log the flight time when they fly your drone commercially. The FAA doesn't see any difference between that and an aircraft. That's why they require a pilot license. They require an N number so that they can put in their flight logbook the N number and the time that they flew. So instead of spending $200 an hour to rent the plane with fuel costs, they can fly your drone and clock up those hours. Now that loophole is going to go away in a year or 18 months when it's no longer required to have a sports pilot.
Sure. Okay.
But that's how people are getting around that. And you can either call the local flight schools and ask if they know any pilots that are looking for hours that would work for you for $15 an hour. Or on the website there, it's called barefootstudent.com. You can post on there. And we did that here in the Twin Cities. I'm up in Minnesota. We had 10 people put their hands up and said, "Hey, I'm ready to help out if you need someone, a pilot, for $15 an hour." So you definitely can work. That's the workaround for that for your realtors or people that are under your brokerage.
Okay, so James asking if a pilot's license is required, how do I get the 333? You wouldn't. You would have to, everything has to apply to it. You have to get the 333. You have to make all that happen to get do you have to have a pilot's license to get approved for the 333?
No. Like I said, half of our clients do not have a pilot's license. It's just like buying a car. You don't need a driver's license to buy a car, but whoever operates the car needs a license. So you can get a 333 exemption, but you don't need a pilot's license for that.
Got it. So just thinking out loud and way outside the box, if I have a pilot standing next to me and I'm flying the drone and he lets me, is that illegal or legal? What would you say to that? Obviously, if it's my drone,
Yeah, my brother-in-law did ask the question because they could be a sport pilot who's qualified to fly the drone, but maybe he's never flown a drone before. Now, how safe is it for him to fly it, or you who's owned the drone for 2 years and you can run rings around that guy? The FAA said they do want the pilot to be present and what's called a pilot in charge, the PIC. So he would take full responsibility. He may not have his thumb on the control if you do have someone that's better qualified to fly the drone at that time, and that's what you would have to tell the FAA, if there was a mishap or something. Because there aren't drone police out there. They're only reacting to people who maybe call the police, or maybe your competition is going to report you if you don't have a 333. They're going to do some investigations, responding to people who have complained. So as long as you're doing the right thing, you're probably not going to have that kind of trouble.
Okay.
And I do have the website up here. If you did want to get a sport pilot license, it takes about $5,000 and usually about 4 weeks to complete. There's a website. It's private2atp.com. If you just put in your zip code, it'll give you all the flight schools within 50 miles.
Beautiful.
Or there's an online course. It's called firstlandings.com /sport.html. And for that, $4,199, they have a 2-week intensive course. You can get the sport license. You do a lot of it online, but then you actually have to fly. It's in Florida. Actually, they just opened up a thing in Arizona as well. So those two places, they could, if you want to go somewhere warm over the winter and get your sport pilot license, you can do that.
There you go. That's the whole ticket right there. Can a drone? What's funny about that? She's asking, or James is asking, can a drone time be used towards acquiring a sports license? That's a great question. I know you can towards a commercial license,
No.
but no. Okay.
No, because if you're not to fly commercially, you have to be a pilot.
Okay.
So if you're just flying recreationally, you don't have a sport pilot license, then you can't log flight hours. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Leah's asking a great question, and I know you know the answer to this, and I believe I do too. But so, what is the exemption really for? So we don't have to have a regular commercial pilot's license. No, you have to have an exemption to be paid commercially. So it's a different terminology there. But really, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dwight, the real reason behind you having to do this it's not about. I don't think it's about the money or the license or the exemption. I think it's about safety, because these drones, they're trying to keep a control on them. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure out how do we know who's using it. Of course, there's always going to be those ones that don't register and don't do anything. But safety, I think, is number one. These drones are powerful. The range on them is insane. And I think that they're doing it just to keep some sort of a cap on what's going on with these drones, and so that people are not just flying it and taking it 1,500 feet in the air into a flight of a jet coming by, something like that.
Yep, exactly. Now the reason they call it an exemption is because it's technically it's illegal to use the drone, and they consider it an aircraft. And so right now, like aircraft tail numbers are required to be 6 inches tall. So one of the exemptions we ask for is to not have to have. We're exempt from the requirement of a 6-inch tail number because your drone is only like 2 inches tall. Can't fit that big of a tail number on it. So you're asking for exemptions to be exempt from all these different things and to be able to use the drone for these different purposes and to be exempt to be able to use the drones that we were asking for. You're asking for permission to do all these things. In about 2 years' time, that 333 will probably change that name to become like a commercial drone license or something like that, because that's really what it is. It's a license to use drones commercially, rather than it's a strange name that you're calling it an exemption. It's kind of a temporary, in that 333, it's kind of a temporary thing until they get the act together and figure that all out correctly.
So last question, we'll end with this. I appreciate everybody being here. So will the 333 go away once the 12 to 18 months it gets here and we're doing a class for drone use? Do you think that'll go away, or you still get the exemption, or just get approved for the course and you're done?
Yeah.
Somebody's calling it a PT 107 is finalized. Yeah.
Well, the 333 won't go away because that's what qualifies you as a company to use the drone commercially. What is going to go away is that sport pilot requirement.
Okay.
So that's what's changing, not the requirement, because that's what my brother-in-law has asked about, is the 333 going away, and they said no. The only thing that might change is that, like I said, the name of it, and then you'll be grandfathered in. So if you've already been qualified to use drones commercially, because it is all about safety, like you just said.
Absolutely.
They want to make sure people that are doing this for business are doing it correctly. They want to know that you're following checklists, because, if you're an airplane guy, they have all these pre-flight checklists and stuff like that. They want to make sure that you're not going to do anything dangerous, because, like you said, people can be hurt, and God forbid there's some tragedy, but one day somebody's going to fly a drone into a jet, or something terrible is going to happen. So they're trying to stop that from happening by having these regulations. So it is all about safety.
Okay, here's a great question by James. James, thanks for the great question. So if we have to hire a 333, I hope I'm asking this right. If we have a 333 to hire a subcontractor, I guess what he's asking, if I have a 333 to hire a subcontractor, we need to make sure the drone he uses is one listed on our exemption, correct?
That is absolutely correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And if it's not, then you need to file an addendum to add that to your 333. Okay.
The last question is, what if I hire somebody, I use them for commercial use, they say they have their 333, come to find out I post this virtual tour and they're not licensed and they're just a farce trying to make some money. Am I liable for that because of this person, or how would I protect myself against that $10,000 fine because I used a drone for commercial use in my business? Does that make sense?
Right. No, that makes sense. No, ignorance is no excuse. So what you need is go to the website. It's called regulations.gov. regulations.gov, regulations.gov, and you can do a search. Just put in the name of that company, and you'll see if they've been granted their 333 exemption or what process. You can see, you can look up people and see if they've got the 333. So it's public knowledge.
Got it.
So they
Beautiful.
might tell you that, but I would definitely double check and make sure that they've got it. And they should be able to show you the proof of a letter from the FAA with the exemption number. Kind of like that one example I showed that they posted it on. And if they have it, they're going to want to show it to you.
Absolutely.
It's kind of hard to get. And I would ask them to show me your exemption letter from the FAA with the exemption number. And like I said, you can Google that and see it online to confirm it.
Yep, cool. Awesome. Dwight, I appreciate. So to get a hold of, why don't you go back to your the last slide where it shows how to get a hold of you if they have any more questions, would like to get their 333, would like to get N numbers, there's a bunch of stuff that you provide as far as services. Just to reiterate, Dwight and his company, Gowdy Brothers, they have their own FAA employee that does this for them. That's why it's enabled them to do this a little faster than others. I love the fact that if I did want to do some commercial use, that I could use yours in the meantime before I got mine. That's awesome. So if I know anybody that needs to get some stuff done or wants to get some stuff done, guys, here's the way I look at this. If you were in this business to own it, if you want to own a city or a state or like whatever you want to do, this is cutting edge. People love this stuff. They may not. People don't. It's just, I consider it kind of a shiny whistle, but it's professional. It's sexy. It's all the above that people are looking for. It really, bottom line is, remember when I said we're in the business to marketing to our database? The more cool stuff you have to market homes, and this is by far the coolest. And Dwight said 85% of the people are looking for somebody that does video marketing, and only 15% actually do. It's crazy how powerful this is. If you were at 12 to 18 months out, you build a business because you're the drone expert, and not really the drone expert, but the video expert. Like, we get aerial views, we get how far is it to the local library. Maybe you take a flight with your drone to the local library. Maybe you go to the local library and videotape the library or the concert hall or the school. Like the number one decision people make with kids is, how far is the school? What kind of school is it? Maybe you fly around the school and do a little aerial view from your house to the school. Like, there's all kinds of really cool stuff you could do to set yourself apart from the competition, which, Dwight, on a $500,000 home, man, like at 3%, there's some serious cash here. If you got your sports pilot's license for $5,000, you paid you $1,500 to do it, $1,400 today, you're still to the good doubled what you just spent on one listing. Yes. So if it was me and I wanted to go, all right, how do I get into the $500,000 listing program? Which one is going to increase your income? Do less, make more. We always talk about that. This is an amazing way to do that. That's not out there yet. It's kind of like, no one's, it's just that one thing that people have heard about it, people are buying them, but it's just not used in the marketing world. So I can't stress enough how powerful this is or how amazing it could be for your business. So, Dwight, thank you so much for coming on, answering your questions. You want to go to the slide where it shows your number and email address if they want to get a hold of you from here on out?
Yeah, do you see it?
I'm not seeing it right now. I just see when will the pilot license requirements change is what I'm seeing.
I have it on there. Is there a slide that I can?
Oops. You just go back to here's. Let me just see this. Did we get it? All right. Well, hey guys, what I'll do is I'll post it on the Facebook group. If you're oh, there it is, right there. There we go. Cool. Thank you. So just give Dwight a call if you have any questions. Would like to get this started. There's his phone number, 612-423-3457. I get 0 from this, so I don't care if you do it yourself. I just wanted to bring on a streamlined process where I would rather have you out marketing to your database and doing the money-making activities instead of worrying about the 2 weeks it takes to get this done. And if it comes back and you're not approved, and now you're just a month behind. So that's why I wanted Dwight on here. He does a great job. Has done hundreds of them. Has his own FAA employee that makes it even better. So Dwight, thank you so much for being here. And I know you're busy, so I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much, Scott, and
right, guys.
God bless everybody. Yeah.
Amen. Have a good day, everybody. We'll see you same time, same place next week right here on Agent Mastermind. If you're joining us for the first time, make sure to join our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Agent Mastermind. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.